This is your CEO assessment tip. Today we're looking at how to catch the con man CEO. $65 billion, that's the size of the largest Ponzi scheme on record. All accolades go to Mr. Bernie Madoff. But the real question is not how big are the frauds or how many frauds do we have. The question is, how do we stop a fraudster from entering our organization? And that takes place in the interview, in the assessment. We're gonna look at a few simple questions you can ask to stop these crooked cats dead in their tracks and make sure you never hire one. A crooked CEO comes into an organization, the first thing they do is they slash costs. So they fire 50%, 30%, 20% of the staff, reducing that salary cost expense on the P&L. They change the accounting systems, they change the MIS or the management information systems so legacy employees can't log in, the board members can't easily log in and see what's happening with the numbers. Then the CEO replaces all the control functions with their loyalists. So they hire their own CFO, their own head of audit, their own head of legal. Then he opens up fake companies and starts sending invoices from the fake companies to the mother company. And then when the time is right, he starts paying those invoices and siphoning cash out of the company. From the outside or from the board perspective, what actually happens is because he's slashed costs and he's fired people, and at the same time he may also liquidate assets. So if they own a building, he'll sell the building, he'll lease it back. So he's putting a cash injection into the business. So from the board perspective, the first result is our cash position has improved, our cost position has gone down, our profitability has increased by like 50%, and for the first time in years, we're getting a nice dividend being paid. We love this CEO. Well, in year two, what happens is that company now goes into a nosedive. You know, the good staff have been fired, customer experience falls through the floor, revenue starts to die out, and the cash is being siphoned out by the CEO and the CFO on these dummy accounts. The board says, well, what's happened? And then the CEO and the CFO claim exogenous factors. It's the market, it's the da-da-da-da-da. And buy themselves some time. They then close down the dummy companies, they liquidate everything, they throw in their resignations, and they walk out looking for their next victim. Meanwhile, the company is totally destroyed. So this is the most common fraud that you will see. So how do we catch this? There's three key areas that we just want to look at when we catch a crooked CEO in the interview. Number one, when they say unreal results. The second the CEO comes in and says, we were losing money for 3 years and I made the company profitable in 3 months. This is a massive red flag because you cannot get that kind of result in 3 months. So what's happening is there's slash and burn going on. Maybe there was already a market turn. There was something happening that the CEO maybe didn't have anything to do with. There was activities or actions that were taken 6 months or 8 months or 9 months before the CEO joined. It was not the CEO. You cannot start a strategy, implement it, execute, and get profitable results in 3 to 6 months. It does not happen. It's a red flag. You need to look at what really is going on that P&L. Number two, a lack of emotionality and detail. If you're turning around a company that's losing $65 million a year, the first time that you go in to meet with the bankers, there's an emotional experience. What was that like the first time you had to go in and meet with your creditors? Who are your biggest creditors? Who was the banker who helped you turn it around? Were they a tea drinker? Were they a coffee drinker? You know, you start to ask stupid questions and get that, and you want to see that detail and emotionality. The con man will lack emotionality. The next quick litmus test that you can grab onto is when the CEO and the CFO leave at the same time. The board will never choose to sack their CEO and their CFO at the same time. It's their least favorable option to have their two most senior people leave at the same time. If they want to sack them, they'll stagger it. They'll fire one first, wait 6, 8 months, or 1 year, and then they'll sack the second one. So they'll do it over 1 or 2 years. When you see them both leave at the same time, you know there's a good chance there's something going on. And if you have all three of those, unreal results, lack of emotionality, lack of detail, CEO and CFO leaving at the same time, now there's something that requires more investigation. And those are a few questions you can use to catch a CEO off balance. If you like those, you could pick up our book, CEO Assessment and Selection, which has over 400 questions that you can use in your CEO interviews. Also, on our book page, you can download a free sample of the book, and you can get a link to our book page in the description of this video.